I think a student with a disability is someone who isn't able to learn as quickly as the average student, or someone that can't move around as well as the average student.
Being a student with a disability means just having something that that makes it harder to learn compared to somebody else.
It's a unique thing, if I would say. Like, you're just special in your own kind of way. There's like nothing really like that makes you different from everybody. You just have a unique ability.
I think it's a student that has a handicap who's not able to learn the same way as everyone else and needs a little bit more help in certain situations to get along.
Is someone who's not necessarily able to either get around or learn in the same ways as the general population.
The storybook kind of fairy tale thing people say about students with special needs and disabilities is, oh, but they're not really different. You know, they're just special, but special in a good way. And that's true, but when it comes down to it, they are limited. It is hard growing up with a brother who does have disabilities, special needs. It sucks sometimes. It is really, really difficult. He's limited in some places that I am, but for me, I'm limited in some places that he excels. And when it comes down to really life, being a good, genuine person, the places that he has no limits are the best places to excel.
A student with disability is somebody who just needs a little extra help in the classroom, whether that be through mental abilities or physical abilities, anyone who needs a little extra accommodations.
A student with a disability has the struggle of wanting to be independent and share the same experiences of students who don't have disabilities.
It means that you have needs that are different from other students.
It's just anyone who has a disadvantage in the classroom.
That means that I need help.
Is someone who has a mental or physical limitation that prevents them from doing the things that other people may be able to do much easier.
I think that some of the older buildings would be really difficult if you had a disability. Like if you're in a wheelchair, it would take a really long time to get to your class.
I would definitely say that it is, considering the fact that, you know, the accessibility services office, students with disabilities, they're able to like get more time to prepare for exams, and even like physical elements. There's like tigresses that'll come to your apartment and pick you up to take you to class. So to me, I would say this.
I don't think so. There are a lot of hills and a lot more stairs. For example, there's a fire drill the other day here, and one of the kids in a wheelchair. And what exactly would you do in that kind of situation? Like, you can't really use the elevator if there's a fire. So I think there should be more preventative measures in situations like that.
Honestly, as someone who doesn't have a physical handicap, I don't even really pay that much attention, which sounds bad. I guess I should.
It really depends on where you're at. Obviously there's things that go into that, like funding and resources and stuff, but for the most part, in all the schools that I've been a part of, there has been classes and other resources for students with disabilities.
I would say that there could be more, because there's not really, I don't know much about it, not saying that there's, but just to make students more aware of what's out there.
I think it depends where you are a lot of times, because I know it's a lot different here than like where I'm from in Michigan.
Back at my home high school, I don't think we had enough services for it. My high school wasn't like a big high school for students with disabilities. It could be improved.
Experience. I've had like students that was like in a class with me, but they had their like own personal advisor, whatever, to assist them in their needs. So I've never worked firsthand with one, but yeah.
One of my best friends that was blind, and I was helping him with his braille and things like that.
I have a brother who is diagnosed with high-functioning autism when he was age 4, along with a couple other smaller diagnoses. So yes, I have.
I have not, no.
When I was in graduate school, I worked very closely to our disability services office. We had a lot of students who were living in our residence halls that needed that extra support, but maybe didn't want anyone to know that they had disability.
I worked with a program in high school where I mentored a student with special needs.
I have the Downs and Gigadi, and I have been special education in my entire life.
Well, my cousin, he is mentally disabled, and then I came from Toole High School, and so we had radio. We got to interact with radio all the time.
I think there are a lot of opportunities, but I don't think that they're all accessible to all of them. Like Clemson Life, super expensive, stuff like that.
I am not really sure.
I do. The thing is, it just takes a lot to find them, is what I've learned.
I think there could be more.
I think there are opportunities out there, however, they're not actively advertised.
In a perfect world, I would say that everybody loves them and they all are just accepted and included. There are exceptions in that. It just depends on the person, really. But I feel like as a school, we try really hard to accept everybody.
Not always. For the most part, most people, recognize that they are disabled, but I feel like they can go the extra mile to help them understand.
Not usually. Some schools are really good, but some schools there's a lot of bullying and there's a lot of they're just more separated a lot of the times.
I feel like this could range from where you're at and the type of person, because you can't really speak for every single person.
Yes, I was not afraid to ask for help with teachers and students. Helped me to learn of is important for to students with disabilities.
So we feel like overall we got a really good consensus of answers, a lot of different answers.
We feel that the people that we interviewed had a very clear understanding of what it means to be a student with a disability. There is such a wide spectrum, though, of disabilities that people don't know about, but they knew the general answer of what it means to be a student with a disability, and they knew that it's important for those students to have specialized instruction and maybe that little extra push that they need to exceed, whether it's physically or academically in school.
And then as far as like getting around the Clemson campus, most of the people said that they just honestly didn't pay attention to that, and I think that's true. I really don't pay that much attention to it either. But everyone kind of agreed that it would be very difficult with the campus that we have because it is so hilly and it is difficult when you watch the poor kids that are blind or are in wheelchairs. They do seem to struggle a lot more.
Yeah, and we also asked the people that we interviewed if they thought that there were enough services within the school systems for these students with disabilities. It was kind of half and half. Some of the people we interviewed knew about the services within the school systems and the accommodations that the students can have, and others didn't know. Some of the people we interviewed came from private schools, so they didn't really have a good understanding of the services that were offered to some of the students, but overall, people did kind of know some of the services and accommodations that students with disabilities can have within the school system.
Also, a lot of the people that we interviewed did have past experience with students with disabilities. A lot of people, it was from like summer camps. Some people didn't really have any experience with students with disabilities, but I feel like that was really good for this project because it helped us kind of see both sides of it where people were at. And then we also asked if they thought that there was enough opportunities for students with disabilities. And a lot of people either said no or they said yes, but they aren't advertised enough. And that is such a true statement coming from a home with my sister has disabilities. It's so true. There are tons of opportunities out there like Clemson Life, but Clemson Life is $34,000 a year, which is about $14,000 more than regular Clemson tuition. And the other students have been told that because they're what is acceptable for them, the things that they should be able to achieve, they've been told that those are low standards for their entire life, which is not true at all, but that's what they've been told. So they don't feel like there's any point in them taking advantage of the opportunities that are out there, because why do that when you could be dependent on mom and dad instead of independent?
Right. Some of the students, they believe that because people have had such a low standard and low expectations for them their whole life, why take these opportunities after college? And also, funds plays a big role in the opportunities after school for students with disabilities. Some of the opportunities can be very expensive, just like Clemson Life. They're great programs, but some of them are a little out of reach for some of the students that have disabilities in the area.
And then the last question we asked was, do you think students with disabilities are treated fairly in the schools? And pretty much the general consensus was yes, but that sometimes there are, whether it's a teacher or a student or whoever, that all it takes is one bad apple to really affect a lot of, especially if it is a teacher administrator. It just takes one bad apple to ruin what everyone thinks of the students.
Right.
Thanks.